Okay, there we go. All right, so today we're going to go over the two different programs that our company works with to offer you the 25 free just listed or just sold postcards. So I'm going to start sharing my screen so I can show you. We'll start with continuity programs. Okay. Okay. So just like anything else, you are going to start out by going to your ACE dashboard. And to get to either of these programs, you're going to go to the blue Market Listings tab. You will see a lot included in this tab. So what you're looking for is going to be essentially an alphabetical order. So you'll see here at the end of the top row is continuity programs. And if you scroll down towards the bottom, you'll see Xpress docs. Let's start with continuity programs. Now, if you haven't used this in a while, you're going to notice that your landing page or dashboard looks a lot different. They recently upgraded it. There was a bunch of training when that first happened, but it's been a while now. So this is what you're now going to see when you log in. They basically simplified the format, put everything on one page so that you can navigate it a little more easily. There was a lot of complaints from agents that it was too all over the place and they couldn't figure out where they needed to go. So they've made it very obvious now right here. It says company paid, just listed, just sold. So that's where you would go if you just want to place an order. If you want to check out your profile to make sure that information is correct, which I always suggest you do, you can either do that right here on this one or at the top menu as well. So that we'll start there, go to profile. And a lot of this will be preloaded for you, but you just want to make sure everything is correct. So your name, you can upload a photo if you don't have one in the system by clicking choose file. Your title, company name isn't there, but does it need to be? It will automatically be generated on the postcards with the logo and everything. Your return address information, which again, if it's not here, you can put it in, but it will be automatically generated regardless based upon your account, which is through your office of Berkshire Hathaway. Contact information, make sure this is correct, your email, office number, and your cell phone number. And then if you need to change your password, you can do that here as well. So very simple, but just make sure this information is correct. We'll go back to the menu tab, the top, which gets you back to this main page. Okay, so let's just go ahead and jump into this company paid program. Now, mine is going to look a little different from yours because I'm on a team. None of my available postcards or banked postcards are going to show up here. If you are your own, you will have a list of all of your listings that have closed down here, where mine is just blank white. So if you're seeing that, you will see each one listed by address, and at the right-hand side next to the address, there will be a place order button. So you can actually skip this top part and just use your list of listings to select a specific one that you want to send the just listed or just sold card for. Now, you'll see a note here at the top that says missing data represented the buyer. Please email property address, and it gives you an email address. So their system automatically receives any listings through our company, but they don't always receive the buy side information. So if you have closed with a buyer and you don't see that address pop up down here in your list, you can just email them and they'll get it added to your account so that you can utilize those banked cards as well. Regardless of which side of the transaction you have, you will get 25 banked cards through continuity programs, and that does include rental listings either side as well. So always double check and make sure that you have those listed in your addresses down here. So if you don't have any, but you still want to send cards, you can either start by putting in a property address and search listings, or you can just go all the way to the end and say place an order, which is what I'm going to do. So regardless of whether you hit the place order at the top, or if you hit place order underneath from your list, you're going to see this same page. If you're doing it from your list, the property address will already be filled in for you, as will the basic information about property type. But if you're starting from scratch like I am, this is required information up here. So you would just put in, you know, let's say you had the buyer, so it wasn't in your list. You would just put in the information here. And then property type, right? Residential, you can put in the square footage, number of bedrooms if you want to. And sales price, if you think people want to know that. Okay, so after you've filled that in, now you're going to select which type of postcard you want to send. And keep in mind where we are right now is just for the just listed, just sold postcards. So those are going to be the only two options that you see on this page. So we'll select just sold. And then as far as the addressee on postcard, you can select either actual name, which it will pull from public records, or you can put a more generic thing that will say neighbor at or friends at. I always like to go with the actual name because I think it's like 80% more likely they're going to look at it if it has their name on it rather than just neighbor or friend. So I usually like to stick with actual name. Now it gives you options on what type of mailing list you want to use. So the way their automatic list works is it's targeted around the houses immediately surrounding the address that you're using. So if that's what you want to do, this checkbox right here that says generate list, that's all you have to do is check that box off. However, they don't always filter those homes to see, is one listed currently? Did one just sell with another realtor? Things like that. So if you want to come up with a more targeted list, like on one specific street as opposed to the surrounding streets, and you want to hit all the homes on that street rather than just a few immediately around your property, you can generate your own list. So instead of checking this box, you would go over here. Now it has to be in Excel format. Right here in blue, you'll see it says download required template. So if we click that, it's going to generate a template Excel file or spreadsheet file with the appropriate headings that you need to have filled in order to use it in this system. So I have a Mac, it might look slightly differently, but let's see if I can get this to open up.
Now, is that something you always had on your computer, that you already have on your computer, this list?
So it's generally something I will pull out of the MLS, which I can show you after this. Because in the MLS, you can filter recently sold, right? And other things that you might not want to waste a card sending. If that house just sold, there's a new owner there, chances are they're not going to reach out to you, right? So I always like to try and filter those out so that I'm not wasting a postcard. Okay. So again, mine looks a little bit differently because I have a Mac computer. It actually comes up as a numbers file. Yours will come up as an Excel file if you have Excel. But all you want to pay attention to is when you are generating those lists out of the MLS, you will most likely need to edit it down to make sure that the spreadsheet only has this information. So it's their full name, first name, last name, street address. If there's a secondary like unit or apartment number, the city, the state, and the zip code. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you from that. But once you have generated that style of spreadsheet from the MLS or any other list that you have on your computer, you can click choose file and upload that list, and it will mail to those people as opposed to the automatically generated surrounding area list. Okay. So I'm going to go back to generate list. Below that, you will see here banked cards available. So I currently have 25 available cards to use. If you have had multiple closings, this number will be higher. So you can actually choose to use whatever quantity you want. However, it has to be in 25 card increments. So it can't be an odd number. Now, with that 25 card order, continuity programs will actually print 2 extra cards that they will not charge you for. They will print one to go to the actual address in addition to the 25 other automatically generated ones. And they will print one that will get mailed to you at the office, which is basically your confirmation card. So you know when they've been mailed out and have arrived. And that way you can try to follow up with people if you choose to do that. So you may see, 100, 150 banked cards available. So you can choose to use however many you want for this particular mailer. So a good example of that is if you've done some rentals, you can't really send a just listed or just sold card for those. I mean, I guess you could do just listed for a rental. But so you can use those banked cards to actually then next time you have a residential sale to send 50 as opposed to 25. So however many of these bank cards you want to use is where you put in postcard quantity. Next option is select the design, and they have a little blue link that says design options. So we click here and it's just going to show you the different layouts, and it's always going to pull the first property photo from the MLS, and it will let you change that if it's not a good one. But so this will be whatever the photo is of the MLS. This will be whatever headline we choose in the next step. So really here, you're just paying attention to the layout of the card and picking whichever one you prefer, okay? So let's say we want to go with this one because it says sold in really bold letters. Over on the right-hand side, we would hit select. Come back down here. Next thing is select the message that's going to be on the card. So again, little blue link, message options, and it has a bunch of pre-written ones for you. Okay, so you can read through these, and anytime it says property address in these little marks on either side, parentheses, it's going to autofill that property address for you. So you don't need to worry about that. So you kind of read through, see which one you like, and if you find one that works for you, just click the select box to the right, I'm sorry. If you don't like any of these and you want to create your own, you can actually hit create new and write whatever you want, but it will have a word limit on it. And there's 2 pages. So here's my first page. I can come down here, go to the next page, and there's one more on that page to choose from. So I'm going to select the message I want to include, come back down to where we are. So we've done design, we've done select message, upload property photo 1. And because I'm starting this from scratch and I'm not using one of my listings that's auto in here, it doesn't have a photo selected. If you are starting an order based on one of your listings in your account, it will have the photo in here for you. So I will have to choose a file. Here it is, and upload that photo. Next up is to select what size postcards you want. And if you are selecting one of their larger or more deluxe options, there will be an upcharge, right? It won't just be the completely free one. So bear that in mind. So select size. Price per the small is the one that they use automatically if you're doing the free. So, you can stick with that. They have a large, which you can see is slightly more expensive, an extra large, and then they have a super fancy trifold one. So those are more for if you had like a luxury listing or something like that, that you really want to brag about and you're mailing to a luxury style neighborhood. Maybe you're going to spend the extra money for the upgraded card. But, you know, for your average listing, you're going to stick with the small postcard side. Then it actually allows you to add a second agent. So this is great if you are a part of a team, or if you had a buyer's agent that helped you, you can add another name to that postcard and it automatically lists everyone in our office. So you can just scroll through this list and pick whoever you want. Okay, so once you have this all set how you want, you're going to click View Proof. And eventually, come on. There it is. Okay, so this is what the front of the postcard will look like. This is what the back of the postcard will look like. So it automatically puts your name and the return mailing address as our office. It has your contact information right here. It has whatever message you selected right here. Okay. So once you've seen your proof, you're going to come over here and they have additional options. Okay. So this right side, you really only need to worry about if you want to sign this same client up for their additional services. So they offer a 3-year, 5-year, or 7-year program that is basically like our action plans, where it has a series of mailers, phone calls, and emails that go out over however many years you choose. And as you can see, there's additional charges for that. So you don't need to worry about this unless you want a client follow-up program through them as well. So once you've filled out the left-hand side, checked your proof to make sure it looks good, you come to the bottom and you're going to click the Next button. Okay. So this just goes through the customer information, tells you the property information, what type, that it's going to say their actual name, how many you're ordering. And again, if you're doing the small, it's just going to say company paid. Okay. And it's not going to charge you anything unless you selected a different card size. Then you may see an additional charge there and it will ask you to put in your credit card information. And it's kind of weird right now. It's showing me the postcard design. It's not showing me the proof. So obviously my home's photo isn't here and what have you, but it will be there as long as you checked your proof. So if this is all good and what you want to do, you would click Submit Order. If any of this information at the top is incorrect, then you would hit Make Changes. And that is it. It is really that easy. So I'm going to see if I can get out of here. I think I have to click Make Changes. There we go. All right. So I'm going to pause at this point and just ask you, Karen, did you have any questions about that?
I do. That extra program, 3, 5, 7-year program.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And would they mail to the same addresses that was in that list?
For those programs, you're actually signing up a specific single client that you worked with.
Oh, okay.
So it's not really like a farming program. It's targeted to keep in touch with your past clients. So you would put a single person's name and address in there, and that's what they're going to use. Yeah. So I can show you that a little bit. So
no, that's okay. That's okay. I don't think
because it is an additional option. They do it. You just have to pay for the service if you want that. But it's similar to the action plans that we have for free through ACE. except with the addition of they send postcards, you know, several times. So depending on how many years, 3, 5, or 7, that would dictate how many touches you get. It's like 28, 46, or 72, something like that, depending on how many years you spend. And it
That's
does,
a nice thought though, but
it is,
something to think about.
yeah. And
Yeah.
if you, I'll just show you quickly since we're in here. If you have signed people up for that program, they'll show up in here under your contacts list so you can keep track of them. And then if you click on your dashboard, it will show you, you know, how many people have you enrolled. One of the things they send as part of these programs is a survey where they ask the client, you know, to rate your services so you can get feedback and reviews and ratings that you can then share elsewhere. So it'll say how many surveys they have sent on your behalf, how many have been returned, how many emails they've sent out for all of your clients. And these are all for the past 30 days, I should say that. So over the past 30 days, how many emails have they sent on your behalf? How many of those emails have actually been opened? How many of those emails they've actually clicked the link in to, you know, go see the survey or whatever else they're sending? And how many of your people have unsubscribed from your emails? Then if any of those actually turn into a lead, right? How many of those have become a lead? Customer satisfaction ratings, if they fill out the surveys, and how many of them have referred a client to you. So, you know, it's a, for the price, honestly, it's not bad. I think it's like $40 for 3-year, 50 something for 5-year, and I forget what 7-year is. So it's not
You
a
don't
bad
have to
price.
think about
And you
it.
don't have to think about it. Exactly.
Right.
And it is a combination of, again, physical postcards, emails, and then prompting you to pick up the phone and call them. So at least they vary it. They're not just getting, you know, a postcard a month about nothing, you know, for you. So if you're interested in that, everybody, if I go back to the menu, right? Shop store down here is where you would go if you want to sign your clients up for one of those programs. So you would click shop store. Come on. Of course it doesn't want to work right now. But that's where you would go. You would hit shop store and then the options for those programs would come up and you can sign up anybody you want. And it's, again, price per person, but depending on 3, 5, or 7-year plans. So that's kind of a fun little extra that Continuity Programs does provide. Okay, but super simple to go in, place your order, and get those postcards going out. So we should all be making that part of our kind of after action plan or after closing, that we're remembering to come in here and just get those orders going. Okay. So now I'm going to go back and talk about Express Docs, which is the other option that is provided by the company. They do work a little bit differently. Some people find them not as easy to use, but have gotten better results. Sometimes there is a little bit more of a charge. Like you wind up paying, I think, for posting and handling on theirs, but it's never, I mean, I've never spent more than like $5. So, you know, it's another great option to use, especially if you can kind of double dip and use both, right? So on that one, again, we're back in our market listings tab in ACE. We're going to scroll down to the bottom until we see Express Docs right here. Both of these are single sign-on, so you should just be able to click and automatically be logged into your account. So your account should be listed up here, and you can make any changes there that you need to just by clicking on it. Again, just check your information. So it should have your name, office number, your correct cell phone number, your email. You can change your password if you need to. User contact information will be what shows up on the postcard itself, so make sure that is all correct. You can change your picture here under headshot. You can add a whole bunch of address lists in here at once if you want to. So if you've got a bunch of neighborhoods that you're farming and you already have a spreadsheet of those, you can just load them in here and save them as an address list. You can get a bulk mail permit because they will do bulk mailing on your behalf as well. So this is the one that I said is kind of more, I don't know what the right word is, more varied. You can use it for things other than the just listed, just sold postcards. And no matter what type of card you use, you can use your banked cards towards that. Okay. So this is, again, just if you want to check your profile, it's here at the top. I'm going to go back to home. And they put it right here front and center. So if you want to do the company paid program, just click here. And then they have the style categories listed first. Again, if you're doing the small postcards, there's not going to be much of an upcharge at all. If you want to select something bigger, nicer, etc., you wind up paying more. So the JLJS is just listed, just sold, small postcards. So we'll start with that one. And then it shows you all of the different designs within that postcard category. So you just look through, you pick which one. There's one where you don't even have to have a photo of the property. It literally just says just sold. Or there's the one photo. There's different layouts, whether it's horizontal or vertical. So you're just going to pick whichever one you like by hitting select. Okay. And then it has slightly different layouts for the back side of the template as well. They're really not all that different. All you want to notice is that this one has the purple company block at the top where the heading will be. The second one allows you to add a second team member. The third one is just all white without the purple. Okay. Skip this part, just go to next. Okay, so now it's showing you the template and we're going to go ahead and fill in the information. So first you want to name the order so that when you're coming back in to check on orders or reuse them, they don't all just say, you know, just sold. So you can change this to the address or whatever you want it to be. Order type, again, we happen to be in the just listed, just sold category. So those are your only two options. So we're going to say just sold. Your contact information, make sure that's correct. Return address is here. Your headshot is here. And then again, if you have addresses in your account, you should be able to select from them and it will autofill. Since I don't, I always wind up using it this way, but it works either way. Okay, so the first thing we're doing is the headline that's going to show up on the back of the card. So if we're looking at the proof here on the left, right, it says back headline here, right here. So that's where this is going to go. Now you have 70 characters and you can make that headline whatever you want, or you can click the suggested copy option and it will come up with some suggestions for you. What I will note, what I don't like about this is that the suggested copy is the same for any of the categories. So even though we're in the headline category and we only have 70 characters, it's actually showing us all of this and they all say it exceeds the 70 character limit. So you would still have to edit these down. But pretty simple, you know, it's obviously a just sold card. So you can say something like thought about listing your home. Buyers are looking in your area. Again, this is a headline, so you don't want it to be lengthy. You could literally just have it say just sold again, up to you. Next is the mailing side comments. which will appear below the back headline. And this you have 500 characters for. So really here is where you're probably going to wind up using this suggested copy. You can scroll down and see, you know, all of their options. Pick something. Any of them that have boxes, right? Right here is where you want to fill it in. It's not going to autofill for you. So if you're choosing one that says number of days, you would click in the box, put in the number of days. If you're showing one that talks about your brokerage, you would have to fill it in here. Or if you want one that reiterates the address again, even though it's on the front, you would put the property address in here. Okay, so once you've picked your selection, you click save. Okay, and then you can generate your post. And here's what it will look like, okay? So it'll just say just sold. It won't have a property address, only because that's the card I chose. It'll have the address, company information. Then on the back, it will have the heading that I put in, the message that I chose or that I wrote myself, office information here. You come down, you have to check these three off. Hey, Karen, I'm gonna mute you real quick just because I can hear a lot of.
Oh, it's my husband. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry,
Yeah.
he's on a meeting.
Yep. But just unmute yourself if you have a question, okay? All right. So it's going to ask you to agree to these terms. So you just check off these three boxes and hit continue. Now you have options. So you can use their complete mailing service where it will ask you if you want to do first class, standard mail, or EDDM, or you can ship the entire order to yourself at the office and then mail them out yourself. This is where it comes in, where the ship order to me are the completely free ones, and you might wind up paying a little bit more if you use their mailing service, but I always do. It's obviously much quicker and much easier. So I'm going to use their complete mailing service and hit next. Okay, you can do first class mail or standard mail, depending on which postcard you've selected. Okay, and now you'll see, similar to continuity programs, you have different options for generating your mailing list for this postcard. So you can either upload a list, okay, and they certify all the addresses to make sure they're not on a no mail list or something like that. So you can still upload your own and then they'll double check it for you. And again, you can pull this information out of the MLS, create a CSV style spreadsheet and upload the list. You can do a radius list, which again, it targets areas around the specific property, and they do stick to residential. So it's not going to go to a business or, you know, an apartment complex or anything like that. They have an additional option where you can just pick specific streets, how many houses on that street you want it to go to. So I could use this option, say I only wanted to go to houses on Highland Avenue itself, and then just say I wanted to go to 25 houses on that street. Or there's a demographics option where you can put in some different demographic information, and it will try to hone in and pick the houses that best fit those demographics. So they give you a little bit more options on how to generate your list. Any address lists that you have created in the past will get saved here. So instead of doing the radius list, if you actually created your own address list, and you can see here I have a bunch, they will save it so that you can actually use it again if you want to, just by checking off the box. So this is where it kind of comes in handy if you want to keep doing farms and using some of their other style of postcards. You can use your banked postcards for a different style, and then do some more farming with it by saving that address list. But for this tutorial, let's say I'm going to go with the easiest one, which is the radius list. Okay, so it has the property address. We'll put in the zip code. Then it asks you what type you want to send it to. I'm going to change it to single family only. And then it asks you how many do you want to pull up. So if you stick with the basic 25, it's going to be the least out of your pocket, but you can add as many as you want to search quantity. Going to hit search. And now it's telling me, here's what they've come up with. They've come up with 2 addresses on 5th Street, 1 address on Castle Drive, 6 on Castle Heights Drive, 4 on Dunn Lane, and 12 on Highland Avenue for a total of 25. So it's going to give you a preview of kind of where they're sending these cards. Use that information. You can double check these addresses because it tells you, 67 to 69 5th Street, only number 5 on Castle Drive, 115 to 133 on Castle Heights. So you can actually, if you choose to spend the time to go into the MLS and double check these properties and make sure that one isn't currently listed, that it didn't just sell, because you don't want to waste those cards with those types of properties. So it's kind of cool that they tell you ahead of time exactly where they're sending it. Continuity programs doesn't really tell you. It just goes out. Same thing, it asks you if you want to use the owner name or replace with a different option. Personally, I always like to use the owner name pulled from the public records. It's going to ask you to name the list because it's going to save it in case you want to use it again in the future. So this one we would name 122 Highland. You would agree to the terms and conditions and hit approved. And then hit next. And the reason that's a 2-step process where you have to hit approve is you can't edit those homes. So like I said, if you check the MLS and you find 2 or 3 that you don't want to send it to, there's a little edit button next to all of the individual streets that it lists where you can edit which homes it goes to. And then once you have that set, you would hit approve and you would continue on. All right, so here's our summary. It's showing us which type of card we used, our order number, how many we're ordering. They're sending the sample card again, just like the other company does to you at the office. It includes a high resolution PDF at no extra charge, meaning you'll download a PDF version of this. So if you ever want to print more of them up yourself, you could. They automatically give you the high gloss coating at no additional charge. If you want this to go out a specific time, right? So it tells you when the item is scheduled for and when it will go out. But if you want it to go out on a specific date in the future, you can check this box and enter that date there. Next. So here's where the company copay comes in. So all that we have to do to get this is actually pull the MLS number, as long as you had something to do with that sale, property zip, and click calculate copay. And as you can see, where continuity programs does it by number of cards, Xpress Docs does it by dollar amount. Okay, so it's showing me from this single MLS, I am getting $17.40 worth from the company. Scroll down. Here is all of the pricing information. And as you can see, my total cost was $17.59. My credit was $17.40. So all I would have to pay for this is 19 cents. Okay. So if you have, and here's another difference with continuity programs, it tells you all of your banked cards and you select how many you want to use. With this one, you kind of have to do it separately for each MLS number. So when I've done bigger mailings in the past for a farm, let's say, I tend to do it by street so I can keep track. So I would send 25 on Highland Avenue with one MLS number. Then let's say I had a rental that I did, which I get credit for, but I don't want to mail around there. I would use that MLS number to get another credit for another 25 cards that I would then send to another 25 addresses on Highland Avenue or a nearby street or what have you. So you just kind of have to repeat this process, but it goes quite fast and is fairly simple. So I do it all the time. All right. Get this back open. Any questions on Express Docs? Oh, I muted you. Let me unmute you.
That's all right.
Okay.
No, I don't have any questions, but since you're recording this, you can mute me because
Yeah, still talking. Okay, I'll put you back on mute. So just like with continuity programs, Express Docs does offer other options, that are an upcharge that you have to pay for. The company just partners with them to pay for the basics, but they have lots of print and direct mail options. They have all different sorts of types of postcards you can send out, business cards, stationery. So they have lots of other options that you can use to promote your properties, promote yourself, or use to farm. So it's very easy to go through them and establish a farm and just keep sending out postcards. Again, you'll get charged, but you don't have to do any of the work. They do it all for you. They verify the addresses, they do the mailing, etc. All right, so those are the basics for today. So let me stop sharing my screen so we come back here, and it sounds like you didn't have any questions. So if you want to just give me the thumbs up. All right. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for coming. And obviously, if you have any questions or you want to learn more details about these programs, as always, you can go to the education tab in ACE. So I will show you that really fast before we sign off, like I always do. So you would go to your ACE dashboard. You would go to the purple education tab. You would go to this training library folder right here. Help documents and videos. And then it's kind of hidden in here, which is why I want to show you. It's alphabetical order, but it shows up as CPI for continuity programs. So if you want to be able to watch more videos or use the help documents that go along with this class, look for CPI. You can then choose whether you want to get the handouts or if you want to watch a video. And that way you can refresh your memory at any time. And I'll obviously also upload this particular video to the YouTube channel and make sure everybody has access to that as well. All right, that is it. Thank you very much for coming, and I will see you all again shortly.